Hey, it's Matt. I'm back with more Celia's Stupid Romhack, a Romhack of Pokemon Fire Red that really has to be seen to be believed. They've changed all the dialogue, all the descriptions, and all the moves. There's a lot of fun new surprises and even a few new Pokemon. It's funny, it's silly, it's clever, it's always impressing me. We last left off at Celadon City, where I had to contend with all the entrances being randomized. I just started poking around to see what led to where, with my main goals being finding the Sylph Scope, or whatever fills its role in this, and finding the gym. You'd think that part would be easy, but the gym's door just leads here. The various rooms of Celadon have all been mixed around, so we'll be running into floors of the department store, floors of the Pokemon Mansion, and sometimes floors of the DMCA hideout. Oh yeah, in this ROM hack there's no Team Rocket, they've been replaced by the DMCA. They're on the lookout for copyrighted content, and they don't need an excuse to shake you down. They're going to be even more common going forward. After wandering around town for a bit, I did find the real Pokemon Center. It was just one door down from the fake one. Thankfully, it works correctly, and there's even a map of the randomization on the wall. It's not super helpful, but at the very least it's something. This Pokemon Center even hides the entrance to the gym. It's up the escalator that normally goes nowhere in this hack. We've been trained since the start to ignore this part of the Poké Center, so that was a clever hiding spot. This gym is blatantly playing YMCA. It's a fun song, but don't think for a moment that I didn't notice that there's a copyrighted track here. That's just asking for trouble. This gym is actually a club for a lot of LGBTQ plus folks, and they're having a great time. I was actually able to just walk up to Erica and challenge her, but we were interrupted by the DMCA leader himself, Giovanni. He showed up here to crack down on the use of copyrighted content. Well, we're not going to let him ruin the fun. However, his Galarian wheezing appears to be a dark ghost with Wonder Guard. Also, it plays that famous riff from the Weezer song Buddy Holly when it comes out. That's great. So here's a little Pokemon history. Before the Fairy type was added in Gen 6, Sableye, a dark ghost Pokemon, had the distinction of having no weaknesses to other types. It was an otherwise unremarkable Pokemon, but with Wonder Guard, it would theoretically be immune to direct damage, barring some special cases. Of course, then the Fairy type was added and Dark became weak to it. So what I need here is a Fairy move. Clefairy didn't seem to help, and I'm not really even sure who here learns a Fairy move. I was feeling a little bit stumped, but there's a lot of Celadon to explore, so I just started going. I met an old lady who gave me some toxic sludge to drink for some reason. I worked my way through various store floors, I bought evolution stones, and I found a shiny Jirachi. I also ended up inside the DMCA law offices where I fought some interesting fake Pikachus. Oh, this is the Eevee guy's house, but he's sleeping. Surely I can just take this, right? Oh. I'll go apologize. He's asleep again. Well then, I'll just help myself to another Eevee. I'm gonna need at least 3, right? Okay, by now he should have learned. I'm just gonna take this. Oh, it's a hungry box. Well, I'll just check one more time. Oh, thanks DMCA guy. I'm sure this Eevee is really good. I feel like I'm the bad guy here. This moving panel section is a lot longer than I remembered. And then I went through a door and I ended up entirely outside of Fire Red. I ended up in a town in Emerald. How much content is in this game? How many games are in this game? And here is where I would get the Sylph Scope, but instead it's the Super Scope, the old Super Nintendo peripheral. It only worked for like 4 games if I remember. Hopefully I can use it to see ghosts? At this point I was back to figuring out the gym. With nothing else to do, I started trying evolutionary stones on my Eevees. A lot of them just pretended to do something and then they just didn't. But surprisingly, a Dawn Stone turned one of my Eevees into a Sylveon, which is the poster child for fairy Pokemon. You'd think that this would be the one to have a fairy type move, but it actually has the ability Normalize, which makes all of its moves normal type. This is a pretty funny joke by Celia, thank you. Thanks for that. So I kept filling out my Pokedex until I remembered the Nidotrans. These are transgendered Nidorans, and if something's gonna help me protect this club, why not these? They evolved into kings and queens using Dawn Stones this time instead of Moonstones, and then they learned Fairy Fang, which is just the move I needed. I took down Giovanni with the power of trans rights and I rescued the club. The resulting scene was maybe a bit too much praise for just winning a Pokemon battle, but I'm always happy to be an ally. And just to be crystal clear, I think this part of the game is very sweet. Love is love, and everyone should be able to be the gender of their choice. For bailing them out, Erica gave me the Rainbow Badge without having to fight her. She also gave me Magical Leaf, which is not learnable by any of my grass Pokemon. If I had to guess, I will need a Pokemon that's associated with smoking weed. I don't know which one that is. I suppose I'll figure it out later. I went to the thirsty gate guards that are blocking Saffron City and I gave them the toxic sludge, which melted them. This is kind of a tonal whiplash given the last bit, but it's a joke game most of the time. Turns out there wasn't actually anything to do in Saffron. But I did get the scope, so I guess it's time to go back to Pokemon Tower. These trainers do have some spooky Pokemon. I mean, look at that bloody Celebi. But you know what's scarier than that? Simple math. And then, not so simple math. Mr. Fuji here is the move reminder, or whatever that NPC is called in most Pokemon games. He can teach a Pokemon a move that it has forgotten. Later he'll give us an item to carry around that does the same thing, which is very convenient. This lady gave me an item for Marowak that makes it hit more times, which seems important. Anyway, the boss of the tower is a Shadow Kangaskhan that makes 3 substitutes every turn. I will need to hit it 4 times to do any damage. It took longer than I care to admit to remember that Mr. Fuji existed. He let my Marowak remember Shadow Club, which ended the fight in 1 hit. Well, 4 hits at once. Winning this fight caused the DMCA to leave Lavender Town entirely, which reopened the dance theater. Here I got to watch an Earthbound-style dance show. A guy made me a blue flute out of ash, like he normally does, but in this case it was the character Ash Ketchum. It's very dark when you think about it. Also, I got an item that is essentially infinite rare candies. Playing the blue flute at the Snorlax actually made a detour path appear around it, which is fine too. Oh hey, Arceus is over there, and there's a bench! I can't retreat. Phalanx is using no retreat. Damn it, Phalanx. Well, at least we're almost to Fuchsia City. It felt like this last section took a really long time. Here's that weird route with all the fences that make a maze, and oh god, I have to watch her come all the way over here. I never really got why this route existed and was a fence maze, and I can go through these. All of these are fake. Wow, this route is so much better now. Alright, so this next part is a very long section devoted to the classic Poke Rap from the anime. It is skippable, but I wanted to see it all. Basically, every trainer in this long line of trainers is going to say a line of the Poke Rap and then throw out the 3 to 4 Pokemon that are next in the Poke Rap. This will continue until we've gone through all 150 that are stated in the Poke Rap. Mew is not present. Every Pokemon that we see in this whole ordeal will have custom artwork. Some of the jokes are good, some are less good, but all in all, it's a lot of great custom artwork by a lot of different people. Celia even made a MIDI version of the Poke Rap to play the whole time, and I'm pretty sure it's been stuck in my head for a month now. Probably gonna need surgery to remove it at this point. So this took a while to get through because I didn't want to speed up while I was doing it so I could see all the jokes, but I am going to put it on faster speed while I talk about something else. You see, I want to talk about shiny Pokemon in this Romhack. While I was doing this part, I stumbled onto a shiny Pokemon given to me by one of the NPCs. This got me curious and I looked into it. It turns out that every single Pokemon in this Romhack has a shiny version, most often gained through a puzzle or alternate way of progressing the game. The Discord for Celia's Stupid Romhack is very serious about keeping the methods to get each one secret. You won't stumble on to many of them. They take effort. After I finished my first playthrough of this game, I started a new file with the goal of getting all the shinies. It's a really fun experience with a lot of clever puzzles and solutions. I'm currently up to about 50 shinies. It really adds an insane amount of replay value to the game. All of this Poke Rap stuff is pretty silly, but at the end of it there's a sincere statement by Celia about the value of creative effort. This personally fits right in with my own viewpoint, which is that creativity is the soul of humanity. To be human is to be creative, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad as long as you honestly put in effort. It's why I love indie games so much, because you get to see things like this very Romhack. Creative works with love, care, and detail put into every part of it. It's also why I make these videos for my friends. I don't do it for money or views. I have no illusions about how many viewers I have. I do it because I love video games. Anyway, I finally escaped the Poke Rap gauntlet, and I made it to the beach. There's a very suspicious sandcastle here, which is likely the Pokemon Palace Sand, and there's a lighthouse that is closed due to power failure even though the lights are on. Also, there's a seaside house where you fight a few trans trainers and receive your own gender fluid. Now you can swap between male and female player characters. This is actually an innovation because I'm pretty sure no actual mainline Pokemon game lets you change your character's gender once they've been made. And then I finally got to Fuchsia City after what felt like hours on the routes, but the city itself is an even bigger tangle than anything that's happened so far in this Romhack. For starters, the gym and the Pokemon Center are inaccessible. Something invisible is blocking them. The Safari Warden is here, but he threatens me with a gun! I can't understand him without his teeth, but saying no seems to placate him. If you say yes, he shoots you. I can't go up Cycling Road because my bike is hungry. Did I address the bike yet? It's actually Koga, the bike dragon from Generation 9. It has cool bike music, I don't know what it's from. Because it's a living thing and not an actual bike, it needs food to go up the steep hill of Cycling Road. There's a guy in Fuchsia that's obsessed with sandwiches, and he told me the correct ingredients for a sandwich, which are meat, cheese, bread, sesame seeds, pickles, and lettuce, so I guess I'm looking for those. As a side note, I agree with this guy. Sandwiches are the peak form of food. However, I never expected to be making a sandwich in a Pokemon game. The DMCA have invaded the Safari Zone, and they even take my TM case when I go in. I can't pick up any of the TMs now or even receive the Reward House TM. I did get some cheese for my sandwich from a vending machine though, which is pretty gross. My way is actually being blocked right now by the Taunt TM. There's this very long hedge maze, more of a path really, that's just there to waste your steps and cause you to time out of the safari zone. But you can retreat past it, to a bench. There's a big scary death spiral here, I'm just gonna ignore that. The DMCA is apparently looking for a Dragonite, so I probably need one of those. Normally you'd get a Dratini here in the Safari Zone, but not in this Romhack. The DMCA leaders at the end of the path have a very clear reference to Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, which is, I will reiterate, the last good Paper Mario game. Yeah, that's right, Super Paper Mario is garbage. Anyway, in that game, you needed Yoshi to eat one of these guys and spit him at the other. But what fills the Yoshi role in this game? I retreat to explore and think. I need meat for the sandwich, but am I really gonna buy it from this shady guy? Apparently yes. Oh god, that poor Lapras. These little Sesame Seed characters are also straight out of Earthbound, and generally I can see a lot of influence from Earthbound in this hack. Keep that in mind for later. I lie to a Sesame Seed and add it to my sandwich ingredients. I'm pretty sure that the Slickatongue hiding pickles under his tongue is a SpongeBob SquarePants reference. I'm pretty sure. Just grab some lettuce by cutting down this plant. It's lettuce, don't ask questions. And just stop at the American Donut store to buy some bread. And the sandwich is done! As an aside, this store says onigiri on it, which is a rice ball. You can see a picture of it there too. This is a reference to how the Pokemon anime would have the characters clearly eating rice balls, but the translation would refer to them as donuts. This sandwich better get me up this hill because it was a huge pain to make. Wow, that is a good sandwich! Well damn, even jumped over the broken bridge. Got the fly TM from a criminal, and something that can learn it is lurking in the grass just outside. That's right, it's obvious flyer, go lurk. He's definitely good at flying and not a ground Pokemon. Having fly is always such an incredible turning point in any Pokemon game. Now I can go back to any town I've been to. This also lets me access the part of Fuchsia with the gym and the Poke Center and... oh. Oops. Fly let me go grab the Warden's teeth, and he rewarded me with a gun. This poor Remoraid is a gun now. As an American, I'm gonna keep this little guy in my party forever. I didn't know how to solve the ongoing Dragonite problem, so I decided to take a shot at the gym. It's right inside this huge Seviper head. Koga greeted me at the front and made me choose only 3 of my Pokemon to bring. Well, obviously I'd bring my Super Crab, my starter, and my gun. Koga's gym is a work of art in terms of puzzles. You have to go back and forth between these confusing rooms, solving simple problems to beat the trainers and their tricky gimmicks. You use the drill dozer to drill holes in walls, and sometimes move Pokemon between rooms to change the weather. I even threw this Vulpix through a hole. At various points, you'll need to use NPCs to burn, poison, or paralyze your team to allow them to win fights. And to do this, you'll have to avoid rooms with nurses in them, because they will automatically heal your team and remove the important status conditions. Honestly, having to avoid healing is a pretty cool idea for a puzzle. There's even a pit in this gym, but you need to jump into it to move forward. Eventually, I found the Devon Scope, which is normally an item that lets you see invisible things, usually Kecleon. In this case, however, it let me see an invisible lass who I then had to fight. After that, I was able to reach Koga, and I got access to the rest of my Pokemon. And in a shocking twist, it turns out that Koga was Mr. Mime dad the whole time, which I think means we're related to Janine, Koga's daughter. As for the actual gym fight, Dad sends out himself, I guess? A Mr. Mime. His barrier is Reflect, and it's unbreakable, and I have to run away. I really don't know what I need to get past this, so I fall back on my old strategy of filling out my Pokedex. In the process, I figured out where to get Dragonite, and then, because it mentions Yoshi in the description, I used the Super Scope on Dragonite, which turned it into Yoshi, and then it learned the move I needed to beat the DMCA. It's really simple, you just use Gulp on this one and throw him at the other, and done! After the fight though, the DMCA guys start to threaten me in real life, and I'm prompted to choose one of my Pokemon. Well, the obvious choice is my gun. Oh god, it really was right. Wow. Well, no time to think about the cycle of violence. With the DMCA gone, I can collect the TMs in the Safari Zone. I found Brick Break, which I think will beat the gym, and nothing I have can learn it. Instead, I brought it to this Kangaskhan, which learns it to rescue her child and herself. She joined my team, and it gave me what I needed to beat the gym. It's a simple case of using Brick Break to break the barrier on Mr. Mime. And then I beat my dad. He's a good sport about it, and he's generally just very wholesome and nice. He even gave me the rest TM and let me use Surf. At this point, Celia shows up again, railroading me down to the beach. I can't fly or go anywhere else, so I do what she says. This all ends up with me getting access to Surf through Goldingo, and also the Rotom Pokedex. Look at him, he's beautiful. The Rotom Dex lets me access useful moves like Surf and Fly anytime from this quick menu, without even needing the appropriate Pokemon in my party. Also, it lets me use the PC anywhere. This is the kind of quality of life that all Pokemon games need. Modern Pokemon games, take note. And finally, I'm able to enter the Great Sea and see the Chapter 7 banner come up. Too much water? Hang on, let me check my map. Oh god, I really hadn't noticed the entire bottom of the map. There really is too much water. I guess I'll just start by surfing around for a bit. Just sort of see what's out there, visit some islands. I'll definitely figure this out in the next part. Thanks for watching.